So, who are you?
My name is Paul Fahy and I'm the Artistic Director of Galway International Arts Festival.
What's your earliest memory of working at the Arts Festival?
Well, I actually started off working with the festival as a volunteer, so my first gig was front of house manager and making the tea down in the old Claddagh Hall for Robert Lepage's company Theatre and Repair. The Dragons Trilogy, I think, was the name of the show.
What has been the most technically difficult production you have been a part of?
Gosh, well, we've had so many difficult things, and turning around so many venues and trying to make them like world class and all that, it can be very, very difficult. But I suppose John Gerard's Mer Pavilion leaf work out in Derry Gimlet Bog in Connemara for the European Capital of Culture 2020 has to top the list.
What's on your agenda today?
Well, in addition to this, this morning I had a production meeting with Enda Walsh about our new room, the 10th in our ongoing series called Cloak Room, just developing our ideas for that. I had a photo shoot with some of the sponsors earlier on this morning. Following this, I'm going down to the gallery where we're in the middle of installing David Mack's show and a million other things.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee, all the time.
GIA Galway football or hurling?
Hurling. I grew up in Ballybritton, Castlegar, which was the parish of the famous Connolly hurling brothers. They lived across the road from us when we were kids. So hurling all the way, I think, even though I do love football too, but hurling all the way.
What's the funniest photo or press call you've had to do for Gaff?
Well, we've done a lot of very funny photo calls over the years, but I think the one I think of all the time when people ask me that question is one we did with on the ladies' beach out in Salt Hill with all the women swimmers, and they all had a giant, maybe like 4 foot size letter spelling out Galway Arts Festival, as it was called at the time, and I was in the middle of them all wearing a pink swimming hat, if I remember correctly. That comes back to haunt me from time to time.
Name one event you're most excited about this year.
It's always my most dreaded question every year because everything is so important. But I suppose ultimately, it's so exciting this year building a new temporary 1,150 seat theatre behind me in the University of Galway at the Kingfisher for the incredible show The Pulse coming from Australia that has a cast of 70 people. That's going to be sensational, both the show and the venue.
What makes a Galwegian a Galwegian?
I think our deeply rooted love for our place is really what kind of makes us sort of stand out. And I love Galway. I'm from Galway. I love the fact that it's built on water. We're beside one of the waterways here now, and we're on the edge of Europe. I love that whole notion as well, and just that vast expanse of the Atlantic Ocean looking out to the horizon. So the sea, the light, and the people. Name
3 things you'd take with you to a desert island.
Well, I think if I ended up on a desert island, I'd probably feel like I was in the middle of an Enda Walsh play. So I'd probably bring one of his volumes of his works, which would be a good read to have. I would bring an endless supply of fresh drinking water and probably something to play music.
Who are 3 famous people, dead or alive, you would invite to dinner?
I would invite Joni Mitchell, who's one of my all-time favourite singer-songwriters, and who knows, she might tinkle the ivories and sing a song after we eat. Politically, I would invite, I think, Mary Robinson, who's somebody I've admired hugely from her career in the early days as a barrister through to being the President of Ireland, and now with her amazing Climate Foundation. She's always incredible. And thirdly, I would bring Enda Walsh, who is always one of the most entertaining people to have around.
Who do you admire the most?
Simple. I admire my darling mother the most. She's the kindest, loveliest, most gentle, empathetic, fantastic person that I've ever met, and I'm very lucky to still have her.
What is your biggest pet peeve about Galway?
I'll keep this to cultural answer rather than political, and I will say the lack of cultural infrastructure and not having a gallery all these years later especially is so annoying, but hopefully we'll get there with the An Post building.
What is your favourite Gaff poster?
I have many, and they serve so many different purposes, I guess. Like initially there was always kind of like an artistic image to symbolise the festival, and then in more later years they've been like the big marketing image that have needed to kind of serve across so many different kind of platforms. But I think in 2014 we used the production image from Ballyturk, which was ourselves in Landmark Productions show by Enda Walsh with Cillian Murphy and Michael Murphy, and the fact that show was so brilliant, and secondly that we toured to fantastic places with it, that one always stands out for me.
What is a superpower you wish you had?
Being in 3 places at the one time. So clicking my heels and off I go.
What Gaff production have you toured farthest away?
Probably, I think, River Run with Alwyn Fair, which we did with Jen Coppinger. And the furthest we went with that was to the Sydney Theatre Company in Australia.
What is your favourite phrase in Irish?
God, there's so many, but I think probably Gunari and Moherlath, which is just a lovely, may the road rise with you, which is a lovely, suggestive kind of good luck term.
What is your favourite Big Top memory?
We were sitting here near the fisheries field where the big top is located. I think Omar Patondo coming on, who was kind of such a big, iconic, Cuban singer. But I think probably ultimately walking towards the big top in 2008 and hearing Debbie Harry's voice singing "I'm in a phone booth, it's the one across the hall" was just fantastic.
What got you through COVID?
What got me through COVID? Culture, music and books, but also staying in contact with my friends as much as I could in whatever way we could do. And I'm blessed to have a garden, so being able to sit out there and not be trapped in a house was good.
What does the Gaff yellow mean to you?
I think it's a lovely, optimistic colour, and a first cousin to the colour of the sun, and it's very optimistic and the possibility that all that offers.
Who would play you in your biopic?
Well, we've Colin Meaney coming to town this year in Bedbound, so I could have spent some time with him, giving him the lowdown, or I could get my good pal Cillian Murphy to grow his hair, play me. Hardly.
What is the title of your autobiography?
Mammy, you'll never guess where I am.